Welcome back to another freezer meal video. You are joining me for a new experiment. So I have been following Acre Homestead YouTube channel here for quite a while, and I'll go ahead and put her information in the description box of this video. In one of her videos, she does a bunch of freezer meal prep videos, and that has inspired me to do so many of these freezer meal videos. And in one of the videos that I was watching, I was looking through the comments, and somebody had commented saying that something that they do really often is they will buy lemons or limes or oranges and they will zest the entire thing and then juice it and freeze the zest and the juice because both freeze really well. And then you have lemon, lime, orange zest and lemon, lime, orange juice whenever you want it. And I thought that was a fantastic idea. So the other day we went to the grocery store because we needed limes for a recipe, and I picked up 2, and then it turned out I read the recipe wrong and I didn't need limes. I just needed, I don't even know what I needed, but it wasn't limes. And so now I have these 2 limes, and I figured this would be the perfect time to test that. Plus, earlier today we went to the grocery store and picked up mandarins because they were on sale, or clementines. I don't know what you would call these, the mini oranges. And so I grabbed 2 of those out of the fridge and figured we could do this with oranges as well, and that way we have 2 different experiments. So that's what we're gonna do. And my mom's here, so she's gonna help me with it. We have our zester, and the way I'm gonna do this is, for the zest, we just have little baggies that we're going to zest these into. And then I have an ice cube tray that we'll use for the juice and freeze it and then pop it out once it's frozen and stick it in another baggie. If you zest things regularly, I apologize for the next minute and a half. All right, so I'm going to attempt to zest right into these bags. So I'm going to just put this little baggie around here, in this little cup, and then I'm just gonna zest directly into this. Yeah, so I guess you're really just here for moral support. That's okay. Because we don't have 2 zesters. And I've also read that when you zest things, you don't want to zest like all the way to like the white or whatever color that inside color is. So you just want the very outside. This also isn't a very good zester, so this might take me a while. So I'm just gonna kind of go all the way around this. And just, you know, be here for the next 5 years. Stay tuned. Okay, this thing is taking years and damage is being done. So I pulled out our cheese grater and I'm gonna attempt, I think this side is like the zesting side. I honestly have no idea. I rarely zest things. So we're gonna try this and see if this works. All right, let me see. Zest. I don't know if anything's happening or not.
The other side.
I mean, yeah, I think it's just eating it and then it's disappearing. Let me try this side, hold on. Yeah, I like this side. There we go. We just
Use the
Googled.
small holes of your grater to grate nutmeg.
That's so fascinating. I would never have known that in a million years. Apparently this side right here is for nutmeg. I had no idea. And this side is for either really tiny pieces of cheese or zesting. Well, learn something new every day. Hot dang. So here is our 2 little, don't make fun of me. Here is our little zest. We're gonna just, can I have a scraper? Mind you, this is a very, very tiny bit of zest, but we're just experimenting. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and get these juiced. We're gonna get them all cut in half. And then use our fancy juicer thing.
That's right.
Yeah, like that. Oh, you know, maybe.
It's not really very much, is it?
It's not, no. Do you want to pour it into here? And then we can pour it evenly into those.
Okay.
Cup first. That way We get all the juice and then we can pour it, distribute it evenly into however many cubes we feel we need. Alright, so then we'll just take our, make sure I'm in cream here, a little bit here. Yeah, look at that, we got a cube and a half. It is such a tiny experiment. Well, yeah, cool. We have a cube and a half. We're gonna do the limes quick off camera. All right, so here is our lime juice, and then we have our orange zest and our lime zest. The lime zest would be delicious to put on top of like tacos or something, and so you just have it on hand. And the juices, especially the lime juice or something, take a cube of that and add it into like your water so it keeps it cold, but then you also have like a lime infused water. Oh, the possibilities. But yeah, I don't see how this is gonna be a bad thing. If we go to try it and it turns out terrible, I'll fill you in. Otherwise, assume it was a success, because I think this is pretty great. Today is a big freezer meal day, mostly just different chicken that we have, but we're also doing breakfast burritos, and I haven't been filming it because we do breakfast burritos in like every single one of these videos, so you can watch the other freezer meal videos if you want to know exactly what we do in a little more detail. But Dan has been working on that. Elliot and I actually just woke up from a nap and it was quite wonderful. But he is hard at work getting the burritos filled. This right here is the filling that we have for them. So this is a mixture of egg, potato, green pepper, onion. There is ham and Italian sausage all in there. That's everything, right?
Pretty sure.
That sounds about right.
Pretty sure.
And we just mix it all together in there. We use about a pound of Italian sausage, about a pound of ham, a whole dozen eggs.
A whole pound of Italian sausage?
Whatever, or is it 12 ounces? Is that what those packages are? Whatever those sausage link packages are.
Yeah,
I thought it
roughly
was
the equivalent of 5 bratwursts.
Yeah, basically like 5 bratwursts worth. Ooh, bless you. And we mix all of that together, and then we use a 1/4 cup measuring scoop and put them onto these tortillas. These are the regular, like, taco-sized tortillas.
Yeah. It goes like fajita, taco, burrito. And so these are the happy medium.
Yeah. And we just put a little bit of cheese on the bottom, and then Dan rolls them up. And this next part is optional, but we prefer it. He uses the griddle and just grills them a little bit, and it helps keep them sealed really nicely. Mm-hmm. And then after he's grilled them on both sides, he also puts our entire stack of cutting boards on them so that they flatten a little bit, which looks funny, but it works really well. And then when they're done, they look like this, and we will get all of those. We'll just stack them over here, and then they can be cooling. And once they are totally cool, we will just put them all into gallon baggies. We'll wrap each one up in a little bit of tin foil, and then we'll put those into gallon baggies, and we just throw them in the freezer. And this, I think the last time we made these, it made almost 40 burritos. And I'm really the only one that eats them. Dan would very much eat them, but we make them mostly so I can have a very easy, quick breakfast. And then if we want something a little more fancy or anything a little that is a little more involved, Dan will usually make it in the morning. And then we'll have that fresh. But that is what's going on right now. And then in a little bit, I will tune you back in because we have a bunch of chicken thighs and chicken drumsticks that we are going to be adding different marinades to put in the freezer. And that is the grand total of what we got. That is beautiful. I ate one, but otherwise we would have a total of 39 here. So there's 38 here currently because I ate one. All right, it is now time to get started on the meat marinades. So what I have gone ahead and done already is gotten all of the, also our counter is very cluttered, just don't worry about that. I went ahead and got the meat separated into bags. So we have 5 bags here. 3 of these have drumsticks, 2 of these have chicken thighs, And then we have another thing of chicken thighs over here that this is gonna be dinner tonight. So what we're going to do is together we are going to make a honey mustard marinade for 2 of these, the one we're having tonight and one of these freezer meal bags. And then the rest of the marinades, we are going to use these seasoning packets that we had just kind of in our cabinet that we just haven't used for anything else, and we decided to give them a try tonight. So I'll show you those as we get to those, but the first thing is to put together the honey mustard marinade. All right, I've got you set up right there. We have a little helper helping us out. So we are going to double this recipe because we're using half of it for dinner tonight and half of it for a freezer meal. So we are going to mix together in this bowl a half a cup of olive oil, and I'm doing the olive oil first because that's gonna help hopefully get the honey out of the measuring cup all the more. And I filled that very full, so I have to be very, 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 very careful. There we go. And then we need a half a cup of honey. Preferably not thrown all over the place. Okay, well that's gonna take a while. So while I'm very slowly adding this honey into this measuring cup, my mom can add, we need 6 cloves of garlic into here as well. There's gonna be so much footage that I'm cutting out because we're just very slowly getting these things in here. All right, and then I have close enough to a half a cup of honey. So we're gonna pop all that in there. Yeah. And then we need a half a cup of mustard. And it calls for stone ground mustard. We just have yellow mustard left over from the fridge, so we're just gonna use that, and we've used it in the past and it's delicious, so it's fine. Mix this all up, mix this all up, mix this all up, mix this all up. We're gonna put that in there as well. And do you wanna get out the half teaspoon or 1 teaspoon measurer? It doesn't matter which one. Here, I'll actually let you do this so I don't risk. We need 1 teaspoon of pepper and 1 teaspoon of salt. Yes.
Did you get this? Oh, there it is. I see.
Yeah, salt's over there. It's a half a teaspoon of oregano. If you wanted to pop that in too, that'd be helpful. Oh, and then we can add a pinch of red pepper flakes as well, because that would be good. This is what we're looking like. There we go. Now you can see it pretty decently. That's what it's looking like. We'll mix that up good. There you go. All right, there it is. Oh, get our shadows out of the way here, geez Louise. There it is, all nice and mixed up. So now we are going to evenly distribute it between that bag right there and that bowl right there. I mean, if you want to use a measuring cup, you can, but I mean, we can also just eyeball it.
All right, let's eyeball this. Then I'll scrape the rest of it in the bag.
Sure. There we go.
Okay.
Yep, we can close that up and seal it and then mix it all. Also, I wrote on all of these what they are before I put anything in them because that just makes it 10 times easier. All right, so that is a freezer meal and then dinner all ready to go. We'll just get that mixed up and then we can throw it in the oven. All right, how can I adjust you so you can see me? That should be good. Okay, so next up we have these marinade packets. We had been wanting to do something different with the marinades rather than just the same ones we were doing, so we were trying to brainstorm what sort of like seasonings we could do, just experiment. And Dan pulled out all of these different marinade packets that we had in the cabinet that we just never reach for because we usually make our marinades from scratch, and we had these and we're like, let's just use them. So we have a bunch of different ones here and we're just gonna give it a go. So this first one is a lemon, garlic, and oregano, and this you just mix it in as like a dry rub, which I'm okay with. So that's easy enough. You just pop this into the bag and mix it up dry. I'm game. That's easy enough. So I have this other bag of thighs. Mom is currently hanging out with Elliot, bribing him with puffs so that I have time to do this. The honey mustard that you just watched us make It took about 2 minutes for you. It took about 15 for us, just because we were both operating with like one hand. So there is a lemon garlic oregano marinade. Easy as that. Fantastic. Next up, we had this brown sugar bourbon marinade. And this one does call for a little extra mixing. So I will grab another bowl. So what all do we need for this? This says the packet of this, 1/4 cup of oil, 1/4 cup of water, and a tablespoon of apple cider or white vinegar. All right. A 1/4.
Ow!
Did he just bite you?
Yes! Dude, I have a tooth mark.
I mean, oh, poor Nana. Ooh, that apple cider vinegar makes it smell really good. Here is our brown sugar bourbon mix. So we will take that and just pour it right into here. We have a guest again. The next marinade is mesquite. It's a really basic one. We've had this mesquite mix in the past. It's delicious. And this just calls for oil and water as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that up quick with the oil and water and stick it in the bag. Very simple. All right, and for this last marinade, it is this citrus herb marinade. And instead of adding water and oil, it actually calls for adding orange juice, which we didn't have any orange juice in the fridge, but what we did have, as you saw from our experiment last night, is these small clementine oranges. So what we are doing is taking advantage of that experimenting with the zest. And my mom is currently zesting what we need, or zesting the oranges we're going to be using, and then juicing them into here to get up to the 1/2 cup that we need. And then we'll have it, which worked out perfectly because otherwise we wouldn't have had the juice to do that and we would have had to do a different marinade for it. Or just used water and it wouldn't have been nearly as good. Whoa! That's funny. That's so funny. So Mom is getting those zested so we can just add that to the baggie that we already froze. And then we'll have the juice for that. And that's going to work out great. And with relative ease, we have 5 different marinades totally ready to go. It would have gone faster if we had both hands and 0 interruptions, but 'tis the life of a mother to an 8-month-old. So I'm gonna count this as a very easy success. That's 5 main proteins for dinners done in the freezer, ready to go. I'm very excited about that. So I'm gonna throw those in the freezer and I will catch up to you with whatever we decide to freeze next. All right, I'm gonna angle you up a little more so I can make sure you're actually seeing me. I think I'm not cut off there, I don't know. All right, we are working on currently making some freezer meals for Elliot. I showed this a little bit in the last video. We were just starting to experiment with it. And since then, we have pureed and frozen a ton of different foods for him. And we need to restock on some of those things. So we are working on that today. And the way that we do that, mostly we just puree whatever food we're giving him, and so we can freeze it in ice cube trays. So I'm just getting these ice cube trays rinsed out and ready to go. And on the menu today, Dan just finished pureeing up some cantaloupe that we're going to freeze into cubes. And he also cut a bunch of it up into like chunks that we're going to freeze as chunks. Because we recently got Elliot at one of those like mesh feeder things, and having chunks of fruit will be really, really good for now that it's starting to get warmer. So we have that as well. So I'm going to get started on the cantaloupe in a second. But then we also, I just got done washing and cutting up some strawberries, so we'll puree some of those and freeze some of those in chunks. And Dan over here is working on scooping out some butternut squash that we just roasted. And we have a sweet potato boiling. So when that is done, when that one is done, we can mash that up and we'll be good to go. And Elliot's currently hanging out with my mom, just getting a little bit of rice cereal. Hi. Oh yeah, and there's his mesh thing he's been eating cantaloupe in. Oh. Okay, well hold on, let me get him a little more food. And then we proceeded to fill all of the ice cube trays just like this with all of the different foods and stick them in a bag and label them. And that might actually be most of this, so we might not do a full half cup, but that's okay.